Still possible in the playoffs. Still possible in the playoffs.
Right.
Gotta get that ring in the playoffs. Still possible in the playoffs. Still possible. The Boston Celtics still possible. Still possible. Banner 18.
Playoffs beat the Heat, you gotta know. Let's go Celtics, let's go. You motherfucking Celtics, let's go.
Welcome back to Still Potable, and for the first time in a month, the Celtics lose. And let me tell you, they lost big time. What was it? Oh, God, what was it in the end? 122-84 in what was blinded by lights. What was an ugly basketball game. The starters in this game, pretty much the rotation, checked out by Joe Mazzulla with about 3 minutes left to play in the third quarter, which is not good, I would say. The Celtics just didn't make any shots tonight, absolutely outshot by the Mavericks. I'm just going to try and limit this to the first half or the first quarter statistics. Celtics fell down by 26 in the first half. They were down by, 13 after the first quarter. It felt like the entire winning on the margins thing that the Celtics had done in the first three games of this series, they did not do so well with that in this game. Outshot at the three-point line by the Mavericks, outshot at the free throw line, and just absolutely dominated on the glass by the Mavericks. We should have known something was up when Derek Lively had his first made three-pointer ever. I'm joined now by Coley Mick, who's been with us games 2, 3, and now 4. Coley, what the fuck happened there?
They seem like largely disinterested from the jump, and I'm not trying to take that away from the Mavs. The Mavs clearly came out aggressive. Really, the rebounding is where it's like we win games when Tatum and Jalen are dominating the boards, and they just didn't. Not for a second. So I didn't care for that. Real alarming, the Drew Holiday play where he had the wide open dunk and he decided to kick it out. I don't know if Jam's still here or if I'm even here. He's frozen. I'm talking to maybe nobody. We'll find out. But that was I don't know. They came out, they were barking at practice earlier or walkthrough earlier today. And they came out and kind of just fine with whatever happened. Whatever Dallas wanted to do, the Celtics were completely fine with. I'm not going to sit here and be like, they'll be fine in game 5. They just lost by 40 fucking points. You just got to kind of tip your cap and hope that doesn't happen again. Nope, no, it's just me. Still Potable. Subscribe. I get $0 for this. Love Jam. Love Jay. Love B-Rob. I've taken over. I've hoisted their petard. I have taken over their stream. I don't know if Jam will ever come back, and I can't end this either. So we're here for as long as I want to ramble about whatever. The Athletic is accountable, even though they're not necessarily associated with this. They can send me a check. I'll take that. After this fucking shit, the couch is sadly 15-1. 15-1, and it's a trap. Let me explain this to the people who've been following along. The couch being 15-1 and the series going back to Boston is an all-time trap, because now they're telling me, oh, go to game 5. You already lost from the couch. That's not how this works. Anyone who was with me when I was pointing out the yellow socks of 2021, just because you lose a game doesn't mean you abandon what got you here. You don't tell me we can start O'Shea Brissett next game. No, you stick with what got you here. You trust what got you here. And that's what we're going to do. That's exactly what we're going to do. I can't take questions. I don't know if Jam's coming back. We just lost this stupid fucking game. There's Jam Packard.
The entire internet decided to just go out here in American Airlines Arena. And much like the Celtics, we did not come to perform here on Still Potable. Coley, appreciate you having to do a monologue there unprepared.
Well, it was about the couch, Jam, and I don't know how much of you heard it because you were internet.
None of it. I heard absolutely none of it.
The I was explaining to the people, it's like a trap. The Celtics losing, going to 15-1 with me on the couch. That's just a trap to try and get me to go to Boston for game 5. And I won't do it. I'm sitting. You like, what are we going to do? Bench Jalen for next game? It's the same thing. You stick with what got you here. And we're going to do that. I'll be right back on the couch for game 5. And we're going to win that game. I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, it's a process over results type thing. I think the Mavericks picked a hell of a day to have their best shooting performance because it happened to coincide when the Celtics had their worst shooting performance.
Sure.
And the Celtics, like, I was trying to look at it and trying to be, objective journalist, man, and try to figure out if the Mavericks really figured out some wild adjustment. The Celtics had a lot of opportunities in the paint and a lot of opportunities from three tonight, and they just missed all of them. Like, how many missed layups occurred, especially there in the first quarter and the second quarter? I mean, when they scored only 14 points in the second quarter, I'm going to say it. That was bad. I would not do that again. But it doesn't feel like this was like the Mavericks figured something out to lock them down. It didn't feel like, and obviously when you're missing that many shots, it's going to affect your defense. I thought Luka and Kyrie did not Kyrie. I'm just so used to saying Luka and Kyrie. Kyrie didn't do much tonight. It was really Luka did a lot of job scoring, and the random other guys stepped up. We had PJ Washington hitting threes, Dante Exum, Derek Jones Jr. Shit happens.
Yeah,
sweeping the finals is hard.
I said it while you were dead or whatever happened to you there, but it was very weird early on where Drew had that wide open dunk and he kicked it out. It felt like they were overpassing. They wanted everyone to have their moments, everyone get their stats. I thought Tatum started the game well, and that ended very quickly. Like, they got up 3, and that was kind of it. I think they thought Dallas was going to quit right then and there. They sure didn't. Luka had like 29 on 26 shots, which it feels like he was way more efficient than that. He just kind of wasn't. And credit to Dallas. I always try and say that I never blame the refs for a loss ever. They played more physical from the get-go. They dared the refs to make those calls. The refs were largely disinterested in doing that. The Celtics didn't take that same advantage. They didn't play physical. They played on their heels. They allowed they crushed us on the offensive glass, like absolutely dominated us. And yeah, when you set the tone early that it's going to be a physical game, you get to reap those rewards. And that's exactly what Dallas did.
Yeah, I thought Lively just came in and had obviously his best game of the series. It's tough when you're playing and you're switching out onto Luka. And they were just attacking whether it was Horford, whether it was Tillman. When your center's out there on the perimeter guarding Luka, obviously you're going to need to get a better rebounding effort. And normally Tatum has done a very good job of doing that so far in the playoffs. But it was a lot of Derek Lively beating whether it was Jalen, whether it was Tatum, and just so many offensive rebounds. And you just can't give the solid team that many opportunities for more possessions. I'm actually surprised by I thought they would have had more second chance points than they actually did. I think they finished the game with 16. That's still a lot. They were 5 for 11, so they didn't even capitalize on their 11 second chance points opportunities. And I think it really comes down to, obviously, the Mavericks beat the Celtics from 3-point line. It's hard to figure out how much of those statistics are real because Tim Hardaway Jr. just decided to knock down 4 threes. But points in the paint, Celtics were 13 of 33, so just a skosh over 33%, and the Mavericks were 30 for 49 for 60 points. And so it felt like the Mavericks just did a very good job of getting in the paint. Celtics got to the paint, but did not convert whatsoever when they were there.
Yeah, and Luka and Kyrie, 1 of 14 from 3. I think if you were to drop away the Mavs were going to beat the Celtics, it would be them hitting a lot of threes, and they didn't. They weren't even particularly close to doing that. So that was just strange. It was very strange how it all went down. Because yeah, they went 15 of 37 from 3. Celtics went 14 of 41. Like, if you're going to outshoot the Celtics from 3 as a team, yeah, you're probably going to beat the Celtics. And can they do that 3 more times? No.
No, and only 9 teams There's some sort of crowd behind me. They seem to be excited. Only 9 times of the finals team ever swept the finals. It is difficult. I'm curious, Coley, from your perspective. I saw a lot of angry fans on the timeline being like, there was too much, we're going to sweep talk, too much excitement about potentially winning the NBA Finals. And to me, that's poppycock. When you're one win away from winning the potential NBA Finals, you start talking about what would happen when you win the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I go the other way with it. Dallas, I'm trying to think of the right word. The giant pussies the first 3 games. They weren't talking. They weren't talking at fucking all. And the second they were up 30, it's the Michael Jordan shit where he's holding the bat and the Last Dance documentary where he's like, takes a big man to talk shit when you're down. The second you're up 30 and all of a sudden you start running your mouth, cool. Like, no, great, good for you guys. Like Derek Jones Jr. trying to do enforcers shit, trying to do the PJ Washington shit. Lively saying they cracked the code was insane. Shout out to Dirk. I know you didn't.
When did he say that? Is he on the broadcast?
Yeah, on the broadcast during the after all the stars have been pulled. He was like, "We figured it out. We absolutely we've cracked their code. They got nothing for us." And it was just like, okay, we'll see. Guy who really doesn't know how to play basketball. I thought like Dirk. They interviewed Dirk as well for like 10 minutes, which I get. The game was over. I had no problem with it. Dirk was talking like the Mavs were down 150 points. Like he had no faith in them winning game 5 to the point where I was like, what's your angle here, pal? Like what are you getting at? Because this doesn't line up at all. He was like, it would be amazing if we could steal one more, but it's kind of over. I was like, what are you talking about, Dirk?
Well, that's why I have to give some credit to the Mavericks. But if in the press conference yesterday here and the pregame press conferences today, there was a lot of like, oh, well, this is a learning experience. And so we hope we can get back here. A lot of not a lot of belief from Jason Kidd. And so I actually had no idea what was going to happen heading into this game, but I did think there was a chance the Mavericks would just kind of fold entirely. Obviously, Brian Windhorst shaming Luka Doncic lit a fire under his ass to get him to perform. And so we'll have to talk to Windy about that one. But it's not surprising that a team that reached the NBA Finals showed up with a little pride. No one wants to get swept. And you just hope that the Mavericks go the way of the Timberwolves and then kind of understand that they don't really have it in this series, but they gave it their best shot tonight. I do think it was good, and this is me just bargaining, and this is what I was saying during the complete ass kicking. We talked a lot about before this game how embarrassing last year was and how much Jalen and Jason Tatum used that as motivation. They got taken out in the third quarter. They had to watch all of that. They had to watch my man Svi, my sweet boy Svi, miss every single fucking shot that he took. And that must be embarrassing for them. And the Celtics have been very good this season in responding to a loss. They have not done it the 10 games, first loss in 11 games or 10 games, whatever. I think they come back in game 5, but I think that's a great way of just being like, you cannot fuck around. I'm sure Joe Mazzulla is thrilled right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a sicko, as everyone talked about. I did kind of hate coming into the game, like asking Tatum about going like 80-20 on the season, stuff like that. It's just like all Mazzulla's asked is to focus on the next game, and all it was broad strokes, full season revisionism. And
he tried his darndest before the game, being like, game 4, only talking about game 4, locked in for game 4.
Yeah, and it just didn't work. I mean, I did think, I don't know, I thought they would come out better. I didn't think they were going to get blown out. It was interesting how healthy Luka was after all they've talked about was how injured he's been. I don't know, injuries that get better the more you play. So it's just something that I find fascinating. First win for Kyrie in 13 attempts. Now he has to go back to Boston. And again, I don't know that he like played necessarily well. Like it's weird to say, but the shots he hit, I don't know are going to be there next game.
No, he was 10 of 18 for only 21 points. Obviously, a lot of the Mavericks did not play in the fourth quarter, but I think it was just the other guys stepping up. Exum knocking down 2 threes. Maxi Kleber, who looked kind of scared to shoot for the first 3 games of the series, he knocked down a corner 3. Apparently, it's saying Markieff Morris made a shot, which I was not aware of.
He took a 3 at the end, and then they got the offensive rebound, and he got it on the second attempt.
Good for Markieff. After what Nikola Jokic did to him, it's nice for, I guess, him to have that moment. But it did feel like the other guys stepping up and having. Apparently we just got an alert that Joel Embiid explains his distaste for the Celtics. Why is he here? There's no reason for Joel Embiid to be here. I've been in Dallas the past 3 days. No one comes here by choice. Is he here to recruit Paul George? I'm not sure what exactly is going on.
It's definitely what it looked like. He was doing it on the broadcast before the game. He said, like, he basically was like, we want to sign Paul George. He said he hates the Celtics. He hates the fans, all that. And it's like, all right, no one cares. Anyway, he touched the trophy, too. So, of course, no one's going to win that fucking thing tonight with his fingerprints all over it. One thing that kind of bothered me, Al Horford, 1 of 1. And they were largely leaving him alone offensively. We've won games like that countless times. He hit 2 shots, technically. One was one Tatum gave to him with 0 on the shot clock, so it didn't count. I don't understand ignoring him. Like make Dallas, especially if they're going to cover him with someone short, if they're going to try and pack the paint like that, fire away. No one else was hitting. I don't know why he didn't even get a look.
Yeah, it was interesting. It felt like they were really trying to be aggressive going to the rim. I thought Tatum started off strong, but then it just, from my view, about 7,000 feet away, it did look like he was drawing a lot of contact there, but I don't know what it looked like on the broadcast. I thought he was like actually in terms of process, like getting decent looks. It just was getting some contact in there, and it didn't happen to. You can't blame the refs for this one, but I thought he was like forcing the issue and like trying to do the right thing. And he was the only really the guy who showed up there on offense at all in the first half.
Yeah, Jalen was getting downhill, and again, there was a lot of contact. If they called those, they end up losing by 30 instead of 40. You know what I mean? It's not going to change the game that drastically, but he was just trying. They weren't finishing through contact. It definitely seemed like they were trying to draw fouls instead of hit shots and maybe get fouls after the fact. So that was annoying. The Kyrie tackling Jalen and then Tatum, then calling the offensive foul. It's just like, all right, man, I get it. Scott Foster's here. Sick, we get it. Can we just call a normal game? Call the normal fouls. I know you're gonna do other shit, but just the normal fouls would be fine. You don't got to do weird shit, especially in a blowout.
Two of his worst calls, I think, were in favor of the Celtics, where they was it Tatum missed the layup, and it was like no call. He took 5 steps, rolls around the rim and falls out. Then they whistle it. And then later in the game, Derek Jones Jr. just touches Derek White to try and get him out of the way. Something that's done on every single screen set in the finals. And Scott Foster steps in. He's like, no, sir. No contact allowed.
Yeah, those were weird. So it was just frustrating to watch them kind of just be okay with playing more games. You have a chance when it was still the first quarter. You still that's still a very winnable game, and they didn't seem to adjust at all to anything. They were just, which I don't also hate if you think you have an answer, but it's too late to necessarily win this game. Yeah, we'll save it for the next game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought they had a chance there. It was only 8 points with the 2 minutes left in the second quarter. They had that weird jump ball situation with Hauser. Derek White hits a 3. You have some momentum there. You immediately, Kyrie hit a 3 in response there, but then the next play was Jalen misses what I thought was a pretty easy layup. He complains about it, and then that leads to a wide open PJ Washington above the break 3. So I do think they didn't have the greatest focus in terms of locking in. They didn't have the complete and total effort, which what we saw in the first 3 games. And so I do think that is frustrating, and also to make excuses. I also think that's somewhat of a human nature type thing. Not saying in the same sentence, I was going to say, I'm going to make an excuse. I'm not saying I excuse it, but it's a pretty valid excuse. I don't know what I'm saying at this point, but it makes sense. The Mavericks are just the hungrier team, and that's how you kind of expect in any kind of 3-0 situation.
Yeah, I didn't love that. People can also say you lost one finals game. They lost by 48. They're saying it's the largest win in the finals in 50 years. That's bad. I don't know. We're up 3-1. I'm not trying to be the series is over. The Mavs are taking it all. You can't lose by 48. I would have if you lose a close game there. Kyrie and Luka don't get to sit the whole fourth quarter. I know it's 2 days off. You get the whole weekend off before you're back Monday. So I don't know how much it would have mattered, but you never know. Like it would have been interesting to see if they had to actually like win that game with a full 48 minutes.
Yeah. And it's just at no point was there the slight run that maybe that this is a game. You thought it might come at the start of the second quarter. Didn't happen. Tatum gets in foul trouble. They kind of have to take him out. You thought it might happen at the start of the third quarter, even just to cut it to 26, because I'm up here being like, oh, if they can get it to 10 at halftime. And at no point did they string together buckets or stops. It didn't feel like there was any good consecutive possessions. And it did feel like as soon as they realized it was not their night, kind of like midway through the second quarter, Derek White starts airballing shots. They start Drew Holiday is missing lefty layups around PJ Washington. It did snowball rather quickly there for the Celtics.
Yeah, it did. And I don't know. I obviously have a lot of faith in this team. I thought it was winnable really until Joe pulled everybody, just because we literally saw last game, Dallas went on a 20-2 run. Like those runs they happen fucking seemingly every game. So that's where it was just like, just make it manageable, put the pressure on. And they just had no interest in doing that. No interest at all. They're showing Dallas drop confetti. I know that Celtics fans like to laugh at that. They want a finals game. I know we don't do that, and I'm happy we don't do that, but I don't have a problem with them dropping confetti for winning a finals game.
No, it made sense. There was a camera there that was like the hovering camera, and all the confetti got stuck on that camera. So that was mildly humorous to see. But it's their first finals win. Kurt the Frog, J. King is alive. He was up till 4 a.m. last night writing a brilliant story about Jaylen Brown. He did not get taken out on the grassy knoll, but he does exist. I don't know, Coley, do you have any other brilliant thoughts about this game, about what potentially looking forward to Game 5 on Monday?
I'm not looking forward to Game 5 on Monday, Jam. I'm not looking forward to it at all. Win that game. There are no more flights. Win it in Boston. Be the third championship out of the 13 that'll actually happen in Boston. Just end it. We talk about playing with food, talk about being different than previous years. Yeah, you lost one. Not the end of the world. If this gets to 3-2 and you have to get on two more flights, you're an asshole.
Yeah, pressure goes immediately. The Mavericks can play free now, but I think the thing about the Celtics team is they've responded very well to losses this entire year, especially losses in the playoffs. They've come back. Game 3 against Miami, Game 3 against Cleveland. I think this is kind of the wake-up call that they need. And it's just a type of thing where wild shooting variance, positively for the Mavericks, negatively for the Celtics. You would imagine in a closer game, the Celtics are going to step up and play the right way. And so we'll see. We'll see in Game 5.
Where was that weird loss to Milwaukee? Was that in April?
Or they got there absolutely destroyed. I think it was around the All-Star break.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Maybe the first game before the All-Star break, or maybe the first game after, where Joe did a similar thing and pulled the
January 11th. It was January 11th. And this was
big Thursday night.
Yeah, this was they played the night before. They'd played Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday that week. Friday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, and they had just played that overtime game against Minnesota the night before. Nice lower road back to back, and then they responded by winning their next 3 in a row. That's the kind of ass whooping they got tonight. Was that Thursday, January 11th game at Milwaukee. And they responded by pummeling, again, it's the Rockets, not the Mavericks, but pummeling a team from Texas the next night.
That is a good sign. I do think this, it sucks to lose this much in the finals, to have the worst finals loss in history. Not great, but certainly the wake-up call that you think they're going to take, and they've responded pretty well to just losing all year, and like that's kind of what's made this team different than teams in the past. Is just kind of how well they've responded, even in just responding in Game 3 to giving up the 20-2 run. They've teamed to take shitty performances and been able to stop the bleeding. I don't think they've not lost 3 games in a row this entire year. They seem to respond pretty well to losses, unless it's against the Atlanta Hawks and DeJounte Murray.
June 17th will be the exact 16-year anniversary of the 2008 championship.
That is good synergy. I like that. Perhaps good vibes heading into Game 5 on Monday.
I'm going to double check it, but I was there. I'm 99.9% sure that was correct. Game 6, 2008 NBA Finals was on June 17th, 2008.
There you go. June 17th, 2024 will be Game 5 on Monday. Celtics get the just absolute shit beaten out of them. Lose by 38. The chat wanted to correct you, Mick. You were saying 48. It was only 38. Not that bad.
We were right there. We were right there. A couple shots.
A few bounces go this way. A few bounces go that way. I think we're celebrating right now. We're taking our clothes off and we're sprinting to Dealey Plaza. But no, things had to be a little bit different. Celtics lose. Team is bad. Team will hopefully not be as bad heading to Monday. Game 5 is at home. Coley from Underdog, thank you for joining us. We'll be back with more Still Potable. If you enjoy the podcast, go to patreon.com/stillpotable. Once again, I forget to do the promo up front. The entire purpose of these podcasts is patreon.com/stillpotable. Subscribe today. You can go listen to our mailbag we did from the Grassy Knoll. Actually, I want to be accurate. The Grassy Knoll was about 30 feet away from where we actually recorded the podcast. And so it wasn't on the Grassy Knoll. And that's my bad for misrepresentation. I ran into some nice Southern gentlemen who reminded me about the exact location of the knoll and the fence after we got done recording the podcast. So that's on me, hand up. It was just at Dealey Plaza, not on the knoll.
That's big.
That's going to I try to correct my mistakes here. You try to be held accountable when you lose by 38. Like I did metaphorically by saying it was on the Grassy Knoll, you show up the next podcast and you just perform better. Even if the internet completely craps out of you and you cause your guest to have to do a 5-minute monologue, you get better and you close out strong. I'm always so good at ending these podcasts. Sean, press the button. Save
Still Potable in the playoffs. Still Potable in the playoffs.
Right.